The intruder, the freighter Glint Horizon, drifted silently through the black. Its hull plates were scabbed with micrometeor scars, its engines purring low as it crossed the edge of human border space. Dot in the pilot's chair. Rainvis leaned forward. Brow creased. The scanners weren't lying. The contact wasn't scheduled, wasn't in any registry, and most importantly, it wasn't broadcasting a request for entry. Dot. It was just coming in. Still closing, murmured Keth, his co-pilot, a tall, chitinous Orlexian, whose mandibles clicked when he was anxious. No ID, no transponder. Whoever they are ignoring every hailing frequency. Rain kept his voice level, but his fingers itched toward the comm. Could be a damaged ship. Keth's mandibles twitched sideways, Orlexian for disbelief. And it could be a hunter. The old human saying echoed in Rain's mind. No one enters human space uninvited unless they don't plan to come back. That phrase wasn't propaganda. It was history. In the early expansion years, too many alien factions had tried to probe human territory, sometimes for trade, sometimes for conquest. Most had been driven off, a few obliterated. Humanity wasn't cruel, but they were direct. The message was clear. You ask before you step inside. Rain toggled his ship's tight beam to the nearest human patrol station. Order command, this is Glint Horizon, reporting unidentified vessel on a direct course toward Quadrant Gate 6. No comms response, no transponder. Estimated arrival in 20 minutes. A crackle. Then a sharp, clipped voice replied, Glint Horizon, this is command. Hold position. Do not engage. We are assessing. The pause after we are sent a chill down Rain's spine. Keth leaned closer to the scanner readout. Speed increase. They just jumped from drift to full burn. Rain's stomach tightened. That's not damaged behavior. The unknown ship was shaped like a broken arrowhead, hull matte black, drinking in the starlight. It had no running lights, no signal beacons, only a growing glare from its forward drive. The patrol station's voice came back, tighter now. Horizon, clear the area. You are to move to Vector 37 and maintain distance. Repeat, do. Not approach, Rain hesitated. Years ago, before he became a freight runner, he'd worn a human Navy badge. He knew the tone of someone who wasn't telling him the whole truth. Command, he said slowly. You've seen this ship before, haven't you? Silence. Then, without warning, the black arrowhead shifted course directly toward them. Full power now, Rain snapped. The Glint Horizon's drive screamed as Keth slammed the throttle forward. Stars streaked. The distance readout spun upward, but the unknown was faster. Much faster. They're scanning us, Keth said, panic creeping into his voice. It's invasive. Not just ship systems, they're mapping biological readings. Rain's console flashed red. His ship's basic old and usually silent spoke in its flat monotone. Warning, unregistered encryption handshake detected. External override attempt in progress. Rain's gut went cold. This wasn't a border violation anymore. This was a deliberate boarding prelude. He stabbed the manual cutoff for the AI uplink, severing their comm array from anything outside the hull. No one's hacking my ship. The black vessel closed the last few thousand kilometers in seconds. Its silhouette filled the viewport, smooth, predatory, alien in design. And then it stopped. Keth's voice was barely a whisper. Why aren't they firing? The answer came not in gunfire, but in a sound and alien voice, leading directly into the Glint Horizon's internal COMN's. It wasn't speaking in common, or any known trade tongue, but somehow Rain understood it. Human vessel. You will take use into your territory. You will not resist, or your co-pilot dies. Rain looked at Keth. The Orlexian's eyes were wide, his claws curling in fear. Then Rain saw the red dot of a targeting laser dancing across Keth's chest. Asterisk, terms of entry. Targeting laser didn't waver. It danced in perfect stillness over Keth's thorax, steady as a heartbeat. Rain's jaw tightened. "You put a hole in my co-pilot," he said slowly, "and you'll never get within 100 light minutes of human space." The alien voice didn't raise its tone. "You will comply. We do not repeat ourselves," Keth whispered, mandibles clicking nervously. "Rain, do what they say." Every instinct screamed against it. No human captain handed an unknown hostile direct access into their borders. Not without an escort, not without clearance. The border guards' standing orders were crystal clear. Turn them back or destroy them. But Keth's trembling claws were real. The laser dot was real. Rain took a slow breath. "I'll take you in. But you're going to tell me who you are and why you're not talking to command directly." Silence. Then, "We speak to no one but you." The laser dot vanished. The black ship drifted alongside the glint horizon, its hull so close Rain could see tiny fractures along the matte plates, like stress scars from high-velocity impacts. His console beeped. A data packet had been sent across a low-bandwidth channel. He almost deleted it on instinct, but something about the transmission caught his eye. It wasn't coded like a virus or a hack. It was a navigation overlay. Keth peered over his shoulder. "That's a route into human space. Not the standard lanes, these are backwater jumps. Smuggler paths." Rain's stomach sank. Whoever these people were, they knew too much. The alien voice returned, softer this time. "Follow the course. Your systems will not be harmed." Rain sent a short-coded burst to Border Command encrypted low power, so it wouldn't stand out. He kept it vague. Unidentified vessel attached. Hostile, but not firing. Attempting to comply. Possible smuggler approach vector. No reply came back. Not even an acknowledgement ping. "Command's gone quiet," he muttered. Keth's eyes narrowed. Or someone's blocking them. They jumped. The first gate flared around them, spitting the two ships into a narrow corridor of blue-white tunnel space. Inside that twisting light, time stretched. Keth kept glancing toward the black ship, as if expecting it to vanish. "I've heard stories," he said quietly. "Smugglers from the Viric Reach, pirates from the Cold Belt. But they're not even from our side of the spiral." Rain gave a humorless snort. "No, they're not." Something was gnawing at him. The alien voice. The way it cut. Through his thoughts, bypassing language entirely. That was no standard trick. That was direct neural projection. Dangerous tech. Illegal in half the galaxy. The jump corridor spat them into real space, again empty black, dotted with far-off stars. And directly ahead, the second jump gate. It was abandoned. No guard station. No beacons. Just the skeletal ring of metal floating. In the void, dark and cold, Keth's voice dropped to a whisper. "This gate's been decommissioned for 20 years. I checked the maps." The alien voice came again. "Proceed." "Not without answers," Rain shot back. "You're bringing me into an unmonitored sector. You're not talking to command. Either you tell me why, or we cut the link here and now." For the first time, the voice hesitated. Then, "We are not here to invade human space. We are here to surrender to it." Rain frowned. Surrender? To who? Why? Warning. Mass object detection. The Glint Horizon's console lit up like a festival. A dozen, then 24, then 40 objects were appearing around the abandoned gate. Ships. All black. All arrowhead-shaped. All sliding out of cloaked positions. Keth's mandibles clattered. "Rain, that's a fleet." The alien voice spoke one final time, almost desperate. "Captain, please, if you don't take us in right now, none of us will survive what's coming next." The fugitives, the black shapes closed in, silent, smooth, perfectly coordinated. Rain's hands hovered over the engine controls, every muscle tight. If this is you surrendering, you're doing a terrible job of it. Not them, the alien. Voice replied sharply. We are their prey. Keth's eyes darted from one scanner, returned to the next. Rain, these aren't all the same ship type. Some are bigger command class. Some are destroyers. His claws tapped the console nervously. And they're running active combat sweeps. Rain kept his voice low. Active sweeps in an abandoned sector? That means they're hunting something. They are hunting us, the alien voice repeated. They will not parley. They will not take prisoners. One of the destroyers swung its prow toward them, the glow of weapon capacitors forming along its edges. Rain's decision was instant. Strap in. He slammed the Glint Horizon's throttle to full. The freighter surged toward the cold gate. Rain, Keth yelped. We don't even know if that thing's powered. Then we're about to find out, Rain growled. Alien voice cut in, fast. Aligned to the vector I gave you earlier. The gate's core still cycles every 27 hours. We can piggyback its residual field if we hit at exactly the right moment. How exactly do you know that? Rain demanded. Silence. Behind them. The destroyer fired. A lance of white energy tore past, close enough to rattle the hull plating. Warning sirens wailed. Keth's claws flew over the nav controls, matching. The alien's vector data. If this is wrong, we're going to atomize ourselves against the gate frame. Better that than getting picked apart by those, Rain muttered. Jerking a thumb toward the growing wall of ships. They hit the ring dead center. For a heartbeat, nothing happened, just cold metal looming closer and closer than the frame. Lit with a deep violet glow, arcs of lightning racing around its circumference. The Glint Horizon lurched forward, yanked into the sudden bloom of tunnel space. For several seconds. All Rain could hear was the thundering of his own heart. Then Keth whispered. They didn't follow. Rain risked a glance at the black ship still shadowing them. All right, talk. Who are you running from? The voice was quieter now, almost weary. We are the Zyrer, or what remains of us. We once ruled 1,000 systems in the far rim. But war came, and with it, annihilation. The ships you saw, those are the hunters. They track every survivor. They never stop. They never forgive. Rain frowned. And you think hiding in human space is your answer? Not hiding, the voice said. Delivering something. Something only humans can guard. Keth gave Rain a look. You hear the way they said that? Like, they've already decided it's us or nothing. Rain's gut told him he didn't like where this was going. What exactly are you bringing in? The black ship drifted closer until their viewports aligned. Through the alien's canopy, if it even was a canopy, Rain could make out a faint blue light, pulsing slowly, almost like a heartbeat. The last seed, the voice said. If it falls into hunter hands, my people are gone forever. Rain's brows furrowed. Seed? You mean like a genetic archive? More than that. A living core, one capable of rebirth. Keth tilted his head. That sounds like something hunters would absolutely kill for. Before Rain could respond, alarms blared again. Warning. Hyperspace corridor breach detected. Keth's mandibles froze mid-click. That's not possible. Nobody breaches a live tunnel. But something was. A shadow was forming in the twisting. Blue light ahead, long, angular. Familiar. A hunter-destroyer was punching its way into the corridor right in front of them. Asterisk. The breach, the tunnel space corridor, writhed like a wounded snake. Its blue-white light flickering under the strain of the impossible intrusion. The hunter-destroyer was enormous, its jagged prow cutting through the corridor's fabric, black armor drinking in every flicker of light. It shouldn't have been there. No ship that size could survive forcing its way into a live tunnel. But here it was closing fast. Rain. Kef's voice was barely audible, his claws hovering over the shield controls. That thing's going to crush the corridor. If it collapses while we're inside, we turn into plasma mist. Rain finished grimly. The alien voice from the black escort ship cut through the tension. Stay on my tail. Do not deviate. Rain bared his teeth. And why should I trust? Because I am the only one who's done this and survived. The destroyer's forward guns lit up, firing not at them, but at the tunnel walls themselves. Energy bolts tore chunks out of the shimmering corridor, sending ripples of unstable space tearing toward them like shockwaves. Keth shouted, "They're trying to collapse the corridor with us inside. And let's make it to the other side first." Rain slammed the engines to maximum, the glint horizon screaming as it pushed past safe velocity. The ship shuddered, inertial dampers whining under the load. The alien ship darted ahead, weaving in impossible arcs, skimming dangerously close to the shimmering walls. Rain followed, every muscle locked, eyes flicking between the black ship's trail and the approaching rifts in the corridor. One of the shockwaves caught the freighter's aft quarter, the hull groaning. Warning lights bloomed across the console. Aft armor breach imminent. Keth cursed in Orlexian, claws flying as he rerouted power from the cargo stabilizers to the shields. That's going to ruin your landing struts, but at least we won't explode. Struts are replaceable, Rain growled. Us, not so much. Ahead, the alien ship rolled hard right, narrowly avoiding a jagged tear in the tunnel wall. Through the rift, Rain caught a flash of raw hyperspace, a churning void of color and motion that no living mind was meant to see. It made his stomach twist. The alien voice came again, harsher now. Hunter boarding craft deploying. Rain blinked. Inside the corridor? That's suicide. They don't care, Kat said, his voice flat. Not if it means getting that seed. Two smaller. Arrowhead craft burst from the destroyer's belly, streaking toward them with terrifying speed. Grappling harpoons flared from their undersides, sparking in the tunnel's unstable light. They're going to latch on to us. Keth warned. Not if I blind them first, Rain muttered. His fingers danced across the targeting controls, arming the Horizon's forward plasma throwers, normally used for clearing debris in asteroid runs. At this range, they'd do plenty of damage to exposed sensor arrays. The first boarding craft swooped in. Rain fired. A molten bolt of plasma smashed into its nose, cooking half its forward sensors to slag. The craft spun off, slamming into the corridor wall and vanishing into a burst of impossible light. One down, Rain breathed. The second latched on. A violent shudder tore through the horizon as the boarding craft's clamps dug in. Metal screamed. They're cutting through, Keth yelled. Rain's eyes narrowed. Then we cut back. He unstrapped, sprinting for the weapons locker. Keep us on the alien's tail. Keth shouted after him. You're going out there? Only way they're letting go is if we make them. The corridor trembled again, louder this time. The entire tunnel space structure was destabilizing under the destroyer's assault. Rain could hear the groan of reality itself, stretching thin dot by the time he reached the aft hatch. The boarding alarms were blaring. Through the small viewport, he could see them tall, angular shapes in segmented armor, slicing through the hull with glowing cutters. And in the center of their formation, one was carrying a containment unit that small, cylindrical, pulsing with the same faint blue glow he'd seen in the alien ship. The sea drain ripped open the aft hatch, letting vacuum hiss along the edges. The boarding craft's clamps held, but the outer hull now offered a direct line to the intruders. Keth pressed himself against the controls, claws flying over the manual override. If they get that seed out, we're done. Every system they touch after that gone. Humanity can't allow it, Rain snorted. We're not letting it happen. Not today. He activated the ship's external grappling thrusters. In seconds, he was in the void, tethered only by the emergency safety line. His boots clamped to the boarding craft as plasma cutters hissed around him, and the hunter's segmented armor glinted in the dim corridor light, the intruder carrying the cylinder. Froze. It looked almost humanoid, but taller, thinner, with limbs ending in multi-jointed claws. Its faceplate reflected the blue pulse like liquid metal. Rain lunged, using his thrusters to swing around, aiming a solid kick at the creature's chest. Sparks flew. It stumbled but held the cylinder. Keth, Rain shouted. Get the tractor beam ready. The Orlexian slammed the controls. A blue beam lanced out, wrapping around the seed's containment unit. The cylinder lifted slightly off the craft. The alien voice crackled through Rain's cum. Do not destroy it. It contains the last hope of my people. Rain's hands clenched. The tether. Hope won't survive if I let it leave this ship. The hunter turned, glowing eyes narrowing through its reflective faceplate. It raised a pulse blade, humming like a miniature sun. Rain's heart leaped, but he ducked and swung. The tether like a whip, tripping the creature. The cylinder floated into the beam's lock. The corridor trembled violently. Energy arcs from the collapsing tunnel tore at the boarding craft. The hunter screamed, attempting to cling to the hull, but the grappling line yanked it back into the void. One misstep and it vanished. Keth shouted over the alarms. Rain the seed? It's reacting. The cylinder's blue pulse flared, spreading waves of energy across the horizon's hull. Systems blinked, then stabilized. Shields hummed stronger. The AI, previously suppressed by the hunters, booted back online with a cheerful ping. Containment. Field stabilized. It announced. The alien voice returned, trembling with relief. The seed senses protection. It chooses the worthy. Rain exhaled. It chose us? It chooses those who act to save, not dominate, the voice replied. The hunters cannot handle it. They can only destroy or corrupt. Keth's mandibles clicked nervously. So, we've just become guardians? Rain glanced at the viewport. Outside, the corridor was collapsing fast. But the black alien ship had drawn the hunters' attention. One by one, the destroyers and smaller crafts were being obliterated as the aliens' fleet executed precision attacks Rain had never imagined. Those. Zier, they fight differently, he muttered. Not to kill, to protect. Exactly, the voice said. This is what you humans do too, even when it's costly. A massive shockwave rocked the tunnel as the hunters made a final desperate push. One destroyer tore a chunk of the corridor away, spinning dangerously close to the horizon. Rain tightened his grip on the tether, eyes fixed on the pulsing seed. Keth, hold on, we're jumping early. Early? Keth yelped, Rain's teeth. Ground, we can't stay here. That destroyer will collapse the entire corridor. And if the seed's energy field destabilizes... He didn't finish. They both knew what that meant. The Horizon's engines flared, pushing them into the jump point seconds before the corridor imploded behind them in a cascade of energy, tearing the hunters apart. They emerged into human space, battered, shaken, but alive. The alien voice, softer now, almost reverent, spoke. The seed is safe? For now. Rain stared at the containment cylinder. Its pulse was slower, calmer, like a living heart. For now, he echoed. And deep down, he knew the danger was far from over. Secrets of the seed, the glint horizon drifted in orbit above. A small, verdant planet in human space. Its atmosphere shimmered with soft greens and golds, the kind of world rarely used for colonies, but perfect for hidden sanctuary. Rain and Keth, had barely unstrapped from the emergency harnesses. Sweat ran down Rain's face, the adrenaline still thrumming in his veins. The Zir ship floated beside them, black and smooth, silent now, almost reverent. Its alien pilot, the one who had spoken to them through thought, hovered near the viewport. "You have done well," it said softly. "The seed is more than a vessel of life. It is memory, culture, hope. It contains what my species once held dear, and what the hunters wish to erase." Rain frowned. "So, it's a living library?" "Worse," Desire replied. "It is the last chance. If the hunters reach it, everything ends. Every colony, every seed of knowledge, every piece of our art, our history, they would erase it from the galaxy." Keth's claws flexed nervously. "And why us? Why bring it into human space?" The voice paused. "Because your species. Humans act differently. You value life, even when the odds are against you. The seed recognizes protectors, not conquerors. It has chosen you." Rain shook his head. "Chosen us? That's a lot of responsibility." "Yes, Desire said. "And yet, it is not the burden of one, but the responsibility of many. You will need allies." At that moment, a transmission pinged from Border Command. Rain hit the console. A stern, clipped human voice came through. "Glint Horizon, report immediately. Sensors picked a hyper-energy signature within your vessel. Explain yourself." Rain exhaled slowly. "Command, we have an artifact aboard. Non-human origin. No hostile intent. I repeat, no hostile intent." The response was tense, official, and heavy with suspicion. "We'll dispatch a patrol squad. Hold position until they arrive," Keth hissed. "Rain, that's a full fleet. They won't just inspect. They'll try to confiscate or worse." Rain's eyes narrowed. "Then we have to move before they arrive, and we can't leave the seed unguarded." The Zaire voice spoke urgently. "The hunters will not stop. They will track the seed wherever it goes. You must protect it. You must learn its secrets, or all is lost." Rain looked at Keth. "Looks like we're not just freight runners anymore. We're guardians. And we're in the middle of a war. We barely understand." Hours later, after finding a hidden base on the forested planet, the ZR finally allowed them to access the seed. Its cylindrical form was suspended in a stasis cradle, the faint blue pulse now rhythmic, almost like breathing. Keth stepped closer, claws trembling. "It's beautiful." "Do not touch it yet," Desire warned. "It is alive. It communicates with thought. Only those chosen may interact safely." Rain inhaled, focusing. Tentatively, he placed his hand on the cradle. The seed's pulse quickened. A vision fragments of an alien civilization, cities. Glowing, starships streaking through nebulae. Faces full of hope and sorrow flashed through his mind. He gasped, pulling back. It wants us to understand, to carry its story." Desir nodded solemnly. "Yes, and soon you will have no choice. The hunters will not wait. They have already learned of this world. Your time is limited." Keth stepped beside Rain. "So we fight, protect it, and survive." Rain clenched his jaw, looking out over the green canopy below. "And if we fail?" "Then the galaxy forgets the Zaire," the voice said, "and humanity may be next." Sudden jolt ran through the planet's surface sensors, subtle, almost imperceptible. The hunter fleet had located them. Rain's gut twisted. "They're here." The Zaire's voice was calm, but urgent. "Prepare. They are relentless. But you are human, and humans do not give up." Guardians of the seed, the forested planet was silent. Too silent. Rain Vouse crouched behind a thick grove of iridescent trees, their leaves shimmering like liquid emerald in the dim light. The glint horizon was camouflaged nearby, its hull reflecting the forest canopy to avoid visual scans. Keth's mandibles clicked nervously. Rain, I count 26 hunter vessels dropping out of hyperspace. All combat ready. Rain's eyes narrowed. Then it's time. The Zyre hovered nearby, black hull glinting. Do not underestimate them. They have destroyed civilizations for less than this. Rain took a deep breath. Good thing humans are stubborn. The hunters advanced. Energy pulses lit the treetops as their weapons scanned for life signs. The seed's blue pulse throbbed from the hidden base, almost like a heartbeat calling out to its protectors. Rain gestured. Keth, initiate diversion protocol. I'll take the seed out. What? Are you insane? The Orlexian protested. Trust me, Rain snapped, already sprinting toward the stasis cradle. He activated the seed's emergency transport interface. A shimmering field that could dematerialize the seed and beam it just beyond the planet's atmosphere. The seed's pulse accelerated. Images, memories of a fallen civilization flooded Rain's mind. Cities of light, starships fighting, families fleeing. Knowledge of the Zyre civilization compressed into a single living core. He gritted his teeth. We can't let them die again. Not here. Not ever. Keth hurled a flare into the forest, triggering the first wave of hunters' automated drones. Explosions lit the night as the Arlexian ducked behind a rock formation, firing improvised plasma launchers. Rain reached the cradle. Hands trembling, he activated the transport field. The seed began to shimmer, its light spreading like a living sun. A hunter warship tore through the tree line, plasma cannons blazing. Rain ducked as shards of energy scorched the ground. The seed lifted, encased in a protective energy cocoon. Almost there. He yelled. The Zyre appeared beside him in the open, firing precise blasts that shredded the hunter's armor. Focus, human. Protect it. Rain's heart hammered. With a final push, the transport field completed. The seed vanished into orbit, shielded by an invisible human-designed containment pod. The hunters roared in frustration, opening fire on the base itself. Trees and rocks vaporized in streaks of white energy. Keth shouted, claws blazing. Rain, we need to retreat. Not yet. Rain yelled back. Using the horizon's external thrusters, he and Keth swung toward the remaining hunters, drawing their attention. They moved faster, dodging pulses, luring the fleet away from the seed's orbital pod. The hunters followed blindly. And then they ran into a trap. The Zyre fleet, previously hidden in stealth, unleashed a coordinated strike. Ships tore through hunter vessels with precision, non-lethal for the most part, designed to disable and capture rather than destroy. The black ships moved like shadows, cutting through the fleet's formation. Rain ducked under a firing arc and grinned. Humans do fight dirty when they have to. By the time the last hunter was driven off or captured, the forest was a scarred battlefield, the air thick with smoke and ozone. The seed hovered above in orbit, protected, its blue pulse calm again, as if satisfied. Rain lowered himself to the ground, chest heaving. Keth approached, claws bleeding from plasma burns. We survived, Rain nodded. Yeah, but more importantly, we won, and they know now? No. One enters human space uninvited. Not the hunters, not anyone. The Zyre's voice spoke softly, reverent. You have proven your worth. Not through weapons, but through ingenuity, courage, and compassion. Humanity is worthy of guardianship. Rain looked up at the stars, the destroyed hunters drifting silently behind the planet. Worthy, huh? Guess we're just getting started. Keth's mandibles clicked in a rare sound of amusement. And the seed? Rain's eyes gleamed. Safe, and we'll make sure it stays that way, no matter what comes next. High above, the seed's blue pulse continued, a beacon of hope. A living testament that even in the vast darkness of space, human courage, ingenuity, and compassion could tip the scales of the galaxy dot. And somewhere deep in the void, the hunters remembered that lesson and feared it. The galaxy had a new warning. Never underestimate humanity. Asterisk.